this step, step number 7 of your curriculum project, you will develop a general program evaluation or an evaluation plan. And typically, this step is implemented after a few years of addressing all the other aspects of your program curriculum. And generally speaking, it takes about 3 to 5 years before you actually know if any program revisions or modifications are necessary. And there are some things that you'll immediately know, but in order to have an effective evaluation of your program, you'll need to collect a sufficient amount of data. So in this step, you'll want to plan for the effective evaluation of your overall program. Discuss collecting data, discuss the analysis of that data, discuss how and if all program goals are actually being met. And you should work on step number 7 as a group. Be sure you disseminate the workload evenly, and as in previous steps, when you submit your final assignment, include your name before the sections that you completed because you are given a grade based on your own individual contribution. Remember to record your communications using the minutes meeting form, which will be completed and submitted by one group member at the end of the week. And in the assignment guidelines, you'll see some of the guiding questions that are there to help you in addressing the various components of your program and curriculum evaluation. Each of these guiding questions should be thoroughly explained, written out in essay style using APA formatted responses. Use each section and create a section heading for each group of guiding questions and provide your response for each. So for section A, as it relates to your specific program, you're going to explain the importance of evaluation overall. Why do you think it's necessary? What should you look for in an overall program evaluation, and why is it even being used? For step B, you're going to explain how you will collect data and use that data in your program evaluation. And this can be anything from written tests to skill performances, rubrics that you've used, checklists, practice outcomes, even expectations or video analysis. Any other method that you use to obtain information that can or will be used in a program evaluation, you're going to list and discuss here. In this section, not only are you going to explain that tool that you're going to use to collect the data, but explain the process for administering that test or the actual data collection methods. So for example, don't simply state you're going to use a video analysis. I want you to explain what you're analyzing, the process of setting up and organizing the analysis, how you're going to review the video, who's going to review the video with you, what are you looking for in the review, how do you plan to share the information that you've gained from that video review, and how will you use that information to determine if any changes need to be necessary or to modify your instruction or the approach that you have. So this should be a very comprehensive section. For section C, explain how and why you're using formative and summative assessments in your program. So identify some of those formative and some of those summative assessments. How are you planning to track the students or the athletes' performances and offer instruction or skill feedback to help them improve? So how are you planning to consistently reflect on this information to track those performances? And for section D, develop and describe a process that you can or will use to determine progress towards the overall program goals and objectives. Are there goals that you need to revise, and how do you know that you need to revise those? How do you know if the goals that you've developed for your program are effective and if they're being truly implemented and evaluated? So how do you know if the students or athletes in your program are learning and developing from those goals or in those goal areas? So you're going to reflect on the overall goals that you have in your program. And after each of these sections, after they've been thoroughly addressed, you're going to develop an overall annual program evaluation. Now, your annual program evaluation can take almost any format as long as it is well organized, it's easy to follow, it's comprehensive, it covers all the different components of your program, it's detailed and specifically states what and how you will analyze your entire program. A good organization method on completing this is to maybe break it up on a monthly basis. So you'll have month number 1 explaining how you evaluate your overall program, whether you have any formative or summative assessments during that month, or whether you're addressing particular goals. How do you know if those goals are being met? Then you have month number 2 explaining the things that you will be doing in the second month, what you're looking for, how you're reflecting on things from the first month, and so on and so on. And so you'll develop this annual calendar of activities and assessment methods. You can also provide a calendar with brief headings on the actual calendar and then write up your responses referring to those calendar headings in an essay style. Or you can just use a paragraph format to explain each area of your program and how you plan to evaluate it. Regardless, it should be well organized, it should be thorough, it should be comprehensive in explaining how you are providing an annual evaluation to determine the effectiveness of your overall program. And in your evaluation plan, you must discuss how you're actually collecting information, how you're analyzing that information, and how you're using that information to justify your program. Now, reflect on the instruction that you're giving, reflect on the goals that you have in your program and your overall program offerings, and determine how are you going to ensure that the students or athletes are meeting those goals. How are you going to ensure that yourself, as well as any other coaches or teachers or instructors or aides or anyone else involved in the program, are going to be kind of held accountable for supporting that as well. So in your evaluation plan, develop and refer to an artifact that you are going to use within your program as an evaluation tool. Be sure you explain that artifact and how you're going to use that. And this can be a test that you've developed. It can be a lesson plan for teachers. It can be some form of rubric that kind of provides an assessment, whether it be grade or skill level assessment. It can be a stats page for coaches. It can be an observation checklist. Whatever it is, it should be something that you're using to evaluate some component of your overall program. And your artifact should be included in an appendix, but explained in the body of your evaluation plan. So be sure you include that component in there. And also make sure that you read through the written guidelines completely and you have addressed all the necessary sections and responded to all the guiding questions that are listed there. And once you've completed this step, think back, reflect back, discuss it with your group, all the previous steps that you've completed, because your curricular team will collectively review all the different steps. You'll combine the sections that were completed individually to develop one philosophy, for example, and put it all together for a final curriculum project that relates to your particular area of specialty. So you'll be putting it all together and completing this final curriculum project. So I hope this helps in understanding some of the expectations for step number 7. As usual, feel free to contact me with any questions, and take care, and I will see you online.